Okay, after Thursday night, you know, we needed this, and we needed it to go the way it went. And the game went just like it did Thursday night. And when they started to make a little run in the second half, we stopped it with our defense and our rebounding, and we came down and we got the ball where we're supposed to get it. We scored the basketball and we got it out to 20, which is what you should do in games like this. So it was a great learning experience for us. It ended up not killing us because the other teams lost also. And we're still going next weekend to try and get ourselves in first place. That's an exciting thing to have happen in February with a team that I think there's not a person out there that would have said Oakland will have a chance on that weekend before the season started to get themselves at the top of the conference. The biggest difference tonight for us offensively, you know, we had a night Thursday, you know, in 30-some years, I've never seen a team go 2 for 27 from the three, not an Oakland team, not a team I coach. And we still had a chance to win, and we didn't because we were 2 for 27. And what I mean by that is we dominated inside early, and then they made some adjustments, and we just started bombing threes. Tonight, we dominated inside early, they made some adjustments, and instead of bombing threes, we continued to play inside out, and we only had 17 threes instead of 27 or 28. And that's the difference, and that's why we were able to pull away. Really, really pleased with the win and looking forward to next weekend.
Questions for players?
Why did it work so well today, Brad?
I mean, like our coach said, we were banging in the inside. They couldn't stop X or I in there. And then when they doubled X had me on the other side of the block and vice versa.
X, what about that? I mean, there's a process for you to undergo too, learning how to deal with double teams, constant double teams, those kinds of things. You know, how were you seeing things out there?
I mean, just fill out the first couple plays to see what they do, and I think I made the right adjustments, finding Brad early, finding, you know, the guard, you know, coming up on the opposite wing, just keeping my head up and just looking for the open man. And for some reason, they didn't get down on Brad in time, and I just found him early enough.
Brad, I know you probably expect to play well. You know, he's a real good high school player, done well, you experience. But it was kind of surreal there for a bit. I mean, 12 out of 12, everything went in. You talk about the zone or whatever people talk about, because clearly you were in that, especially in the first half.
I mean, they went in the zone. I mean, I made my first couple shots. I started believing in myself, had a lot of confidence in myself, and from there on out, it just kept flowing and just felt unstoppable with my teammates right behind me, sealing, ducking in, X flashing to the middle, hitting me, me throwing the ball out, making shots, and all that. It was just all flowing for us.
I feel like sometimes both you guys get addressed, because you're both big guys. Everything's on the perimeter now, you know, and sometimes you kind of get lost in the offense. And today, you struggled to score in the other day, 3-pointers, and now you scored inside. It's a kind of a testament to the big guys who still do it.
Yeah, you know it, for sure.
He was coming off a career high 21 on Thursday too, so I think one of the things that Brad is happening is his development. This is the first year that he's played multiple minutes, consistent minutes, where he's not yanked because of a stupid play, because Brad's made a lot of stupid plays in his career, and he gets yanked. And now he's gotten to the point where he's good enough and deserving enough to be able to make a dumb play. And instead of getting yanked, just get talked to. So he's gone through the process, and his confidence is soaring. And we've always believed he could score, but it's the other things, you know, like stealing the ball and trying to dribble behind his back and losing it, and they get 3. You know, those are the things that have driven me crazy with him. We always knew he could score, and now he's earned, you know, that's the process of life.
He was standing right in front of us the one time. He did like a drop step, did like this and that. I thought you were going to have a conniption, then the ball went in, and you were like, you know, I mean, it was just different. And you're the coach who started launching up 3-point shots before anybody else did it. Today, you started feeding the ball inside. And your other big guy, he's doing a real good job of that. So it's a different type of team than what you had. You know, I mean, you can go inside of these guys.
Only one other time in my career have I had 2 bigs like this, and that was with Benson and Hudson. And I don't think many people at this level have two bigs like this. And so as we mature and grow, I mean, they've still got, 10, 15 games left this year and another 35 next year. So they're going to get to a tandem that, that's why I'm so excited about our future, because when you can do what these two guys can do, if we can learn to defend, and that's what we've gotten better at, both of them, we've got a chance for some really special things to happen.
It looks like you got a pretty good inside-out thing going. Now, he's played well all year. He's starting to score. As your team's developing it, did you anticipate it morphing like this, or how did you look at it? It's different from what you usually have.
Yeah, and we knew. I mean, we completely changed our offense this year because we knew this was going to happen. We knew that 10 guys in there played together before, never played, and we had to figure out what was best. And I think we've changed more during a year. Instead of saying no, you're going to do it this way, we've really looked at what we can do and just kind of gone with that instead. One of the big keys to this is he's learning to handle a double team. He's a little undersized height-wise when big double teams come, and he tried to fight through them and get past his tick. Now he's getting a step away and getting vision, and it's taking time. You can coach all that all you want, but the best way to learn is through trial. And he's very intelligent and very smart, and because of that, he isn't. He's learning, and I think he feels. He just had a game he was 3 assists away from a triple-double, and he's probably more proud of that than he is when he had 32 or whatever, because that's a complete game. He rebounded, he scored, and he passed, and that's how you win.
Yeah, the other game, Brad, there was a play you made where you're scoring all these points, you get the ball inside, and you kicked it out to somebody. I think it was Cumberland who hit a 3.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that. You weren't just thinking scoring, right?
I was kind of off the block, so once when I saw Javen's man held down, he relocated more towards the corner/wing, and he was wide open, so I threw it to him.
X, what about that? Are you happy with the resurgence of the big man in college basketball? It's become a more perimeter-oriented game as of late.
I think it is. I think everybody likes the 3. I think everybody likes to shoot the 3. But, just watching games, I think, teams, if they have a big that can pass and use both shoulders, they will value that over a big that can put his nose in the rim. I think that athleticism is teams they love athleticism, but they love skilled bigs more. And I think that's seen a lot more in college basketball. I think there are more teams that start to shift more towards the skilled bigs, and simply because, they can get stuff done. And, I like it for sure. I'm not saying I'm not athletic. I think I'm athletic. But, it just I think it's a good thing for bigs in general, 4s and 5s, that can use both shoulders, knock down 3 balls, and rebound. I think that's a good thing to see.
Brad, you were clearly frustrated in post-game after Thursday's game. How did that transition into today? Were you hungry out there?
Oh, I had a chip on my shoulder for sure.
Any other questions for players? All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't know, Pat, how much you've seen us this year, but both these guys can shoot the 3 too. And no, when Brad was having the type of game he had today, I didn't want him out there doing that. But he's probably shooting 38% from the 3 this year. So both of them can step out and make it. But you're 100% right. I'd rather have them down there, and it's different. It's completely different.
Well, I understand that, Greg. And I've seen you play. I forget what. I think it was Green Bay. I saw your game against them. And I've seen Brad Breckty play quite a bit. You guys do stream on ES3 and 3, so I see you all the time. I also got a list here that suggests he averages 3.3 points a game in 88 games in his career. And he just won for 32 points. It's a bit of a phenomenon, what happened today.
Yes.
And, it seems like he had 21 and 18, and your team is, developing. It's developing a personality that's a bit different than what maybe you anticipate or anybody anticipated.
And one thing that I've learned through the 40 years I've done this, and having coached a lot of big kids, is bigs come out of nowhere fast. Keith Benson went from a guy that we didn't think would ever play to 3-time player of the year. it's just the light goes on, and especially Brad is bigger than anybody in the league, with the exception of the kid at IUPUI. He's taller than anybody in the league, and in his mind, he's starting to understand that. There's a lot the mind does, and you know, I expect this to continue. Not 32 points, but I expect him to. I mean, he's going to probably in the next couple games, he's going to have a 3 for 12 night, but that'll be okay because he's in there getting 12 post shots, not hanging out by the 3, hoping he can make a 3. So, over the years, I've seen that when they come, boy, do they. I mean, they develop quickly.
Coach, did you feel like you guys got a little bit of a reprieve after Thursday night when you lost and you saw the way things shook out in the Horizon League on Thursday and Friday?
I don't look at that as a reprieve. I look at that as a missed opportunity because we would be sitting here, you know, a game on first, all by ourselves in second place. Now, that still could happen, you know, based on what happens in Chicago and Indianapolis tomorrow. But then if it goes that way tomorrow, then we would have been in first. So that game will never get back. But like I told the team before the game, we have to own what happened. Can't feel sorry for yourself. You have to own what happened and admit why it happened, and that's the only way you're going to win today. If we don't own it, we're going to lose again today. And I've seen one loss become 2 in the past, and that can't happen. So we're by it. You know, one of the reasons I struggle on the golf course is because I can't get by a bad shot, and it affects my next 7 shots. Well, as a team, we can't have that happen. We got to learn from it and understand why we lost Thursday, and improve and get better and worry about the next game ahead of us, the next possession.
You got 4 games on the road now, and you're trying to peak. Everything for you guys is trying to peak at the right time. Do you feel like there's a possibility you could peak at the right time? Because that's been kind of the issue you've always had. Teams at high expectations, look like everything's going good. The tournament didn't go well for you. I think it might be one of these years where you kind of peak at the right time.
Well, this is going to sound like excuses, but I'm glad you asked that question because publicly I get to explain how I feel about this, okay? Because a lot of people say crap like that. And here's my opinion. We've been one of the best February teams in the last 10, 12 years. Now, last year, you can't count last year because we lost everybody to injury. But take last year out and look at the February records. And then people say, well, you're terrible in March. And yeah, in the last 5 or 6 years, we've lost that big game in March. But I don't think it's because we didn't peak or because our kids were tired, because after that game, we went to the Vegas 16 tournament and got to the championship game and lost to Old Dominion by 2. After we lost to Youngstown when we were the #1 seed, we went to Clemson and won. So it wasn't that we had, you know, fallen off the cliff, we peaked too soon. It was we didn't handle the pressure of 1 and done. Now, you want to blame me for that? Blame me. I'll put my hand up and take the blame for that. We've not, in the last 4 or 5 years, we've not handled the pressure of 1 and done. But I would say, who does? You know, you can look around the country, and there are very, very few teams that win their conference tournament every year. In the Big Ten, Michigan's won it 3 times ever. That's the same amount as we've won.
Yeah, you're the dynamic of what you do, and fair or unfair, I agree with you about everything you're saying, truthfully.
Right.
Not that anybody cares what I think about it, it's what you care about.
I care what you think, Pat.
But it's, you know, the perception is that that tournament for mid-major is everything. If you get into the Big Dam, you had a 7-18 team. That was the most dysfunctional team you've ever had.
Correct.
I was writing you should get fired.
I remember.
You remember, and that team ended up getting into the tournament. It was the most beloved team you've ever had.
Right.
Pierre Dukes, you let him on the team.
Right.
You know, and he's the one who hit the big shot. So
Right.
that's what people remember. Unfair or unfair? It is unfair. Your team's been fantastic. But is there a possibility, I guess is what I'm trying to get at, that this is a team that you could kind of have be more like in your image when you get into that game? It's not as athletic in a certain way, but it's got an inside-out combination. There's certain things. Your big man there can pass, the Hills kid. There's different, Hill kid. You know what I'm saying?
I believe that this team can win 3 games in March. I believe that 100%. I also believe that it's important that we get the home game. As poorly as we played at home this year, it's important that we get the home game. I also believe that until we do it, that's going to be held over our head the kids hear it. They know it. I mean, we beat Milwaukee last year, thumped them. And we're walking off the floor at Milwaukee and their fans are yelling, yeah, but you'll lose in the tournament, you know. I mean, since we've gotten into the Horizon League, it hasn't gone well. And so until we do it, we're gonna have to fight that demon. And these kids they hear everything, they read social media. It's the pressure is unbelievable. But what I try, when I get a chance to talk to our fans about it, what I try to tell them is, for a college basketball player at Oakland, the NCAA tournament's the holy grail. It is the holy grail. It's the thing they're going to talk about the rest of their life. The next important things for them are where they played. You know, I played at Fog Allen Fieldhouse. I played at Nadeem Dome. Those are the things that when they're 35, they're going to be talking about. They're not going to be talking about losing to Youngstown on a Thursday night in January. So when we get in that tournament, there's so much pressure, and it's just not us. It's everybody in our league. And that's why if you look at our league the last 5 years, the #1 seed in the league's lost every time the first game. Since we've been in Detroit, #1 seed's lost every game. It's not just us. We were once, but the other 3 years they lost. 4 times they've lost.
So it's not about peaking, getting your team to be at peak performance at that time. It's more about just how you deal with that week.
I believe that every one of our teams was peaked. All of them that lost were peaking at that time, and I can say that because we beat Clemson afterwards. We went to the Vegas tournament. I can say that and believe it. I'm not saying anybody's going to believe me, but I have to believe myself. What I'm saying is it's handling the pressure of it and the nervousness of it and knowing you're done. And then having to go watch Selection Sunday and see Wright State last year cheering and that's we want that. We want it badly. And it's hard to obtain. It's hard to win. It is hard to win.
Any other questions?
Do you have any more news on Trey Maddox and his status?
You know, he is in concussion protocol. What I was told was he passed the test today. So the test he couldn't pass Thursday night after the game, he's passed today. He wanted to play, but obviously there's no way we're going to let him play. He's going to have to pass it again on Tuesday. And if he does, he'll probably practice Wednesday and he'll go with us. If he doesn't pass it on Tuesday, then he probably won't play next weekend. So it's all going to come down to that.
Did you come into today's game looking to feed Brad down low, or did that kind of just naturally happen?
We ran, what we've been doing the last 3 or 4 games is we open the game with a play to get X the ball on the block so that we can just find out how they're going to guard X. If they're going to double, where's the double going to come from? So we just run a basic clear the floor, have him post up, throw it to him, and see what they're going to do. And then we have a game plan based on if they're going to do this. So what we ran, we tried to run our sets where we had Brad by the basket because they were doubling with Brad's man. And Cleveland State's not a real big team, so we worked with X on a dribble away and a high pass. And then Brad, you got to take a hit and finish.
Any other questions? All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.